एवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Bhagavad Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I hope kids silence now. I hope my sound is reaching you. I'm audible. Thank you once again for joining us for this Damodarashtakam prayers that we have been discussing for last 2 weeks. We'll continue our discussion today also on the same topic. Let's offer our prayers together. Everyone fold your hands, close your eyes. All settle, all of you? Okay. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So once again, we welcome each and everyone. Every Friday morning, we have a program titled as Bhagavad Life, wherein we do study from Srimad Bhagavatam per week, one chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. However, in the Kartik Mass, wherein it is particularly glorified to sing Damodarashtakam, and every devotee sings Damodarashtakam every day, the 8 stanzas which we find in Hari Bhakti Vilas, introduced by Srila Sanatana Goswami, which was actually originally found in Padma Puran. There is a chapter, Kartik Mahatmya. From there, Srila Sanatana Goswami took these prayers written by Satyavrat Muni, or composed by Satyavrat Muni, written by Srila Vyasadeva, and he introduced into his Hari Bhakti Vilas, through which we all got to know about this Damodarashtakam prayers. And for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it is of immense importance to sing these prayers. And that would be the main subject matter for today's discussion. Why particularly we Gaudiya Vaishnavas are specifically recommended to sing this Damodarashtakam prayers? Because it has some special meaning that we want to remember and imbibe in our life. And that is what is the subject matter for today's discussion. So Damodarashtakam prayers are sung every day in the Kartik month along with the offering of the lamp. So it's just not any regular prayers. There's some very special prayer with special meaning. And because we sing every day, it is important for all of us to also know what is the meaning of the prayer. And therefore, we are discussing this prayer. So far, we have discussed the first 2 verses, and today we intend to discuss the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th verse of Damodarashtakam prayers. And in the next week, which would be the last session on this Damodarashtakam prayers, we'll try to cover 6th, 7th, and 8th verses. So with that, let's begin with our discussion for today. Hare Krishna. Where is my presentation? 1 second, please. All right. So before we start with the 3rd prayer, we'll briefly look at what was the discussion in the 1st and the 2nd verses. We'll do a quick recap. And we'll recite together, all the kids sitting here. So we have a special audience today. We have around 14 teenagers for whom we are doing this teenage camp during the Diwali break. So they'll be attending it live for the first time, this Damodarashtakam session. So all of us will sing together, okay? Namami Ishwaraham Satchit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalaham Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Bhiyormukaladhavamanam Paramrishamatyanta Tudrutya Gopya Yashoda Bhiyormukaladhavamanam Paramrishamatyanta Tudrutya Gopya. So Srila Satyavrat Muni, this is the incredible beauty of all the compositions by our acharyas. They give us the essence of all Vedic knowledge. So this Damodar Leela, which is described across 3 chapters in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which in itself is a summary presentation, because Parikshit Maharaj didn't have so much time to get into the details of the Leelas, or Sukdev Goswami didn't have that much time with Parikshit Maharaj. And these pastimes are further elaborated in the composition by Srila Jiva Goswami titled as Gopal Champu, which is composed in the form of a poem itself. There's a huge, huge text, and where all the nitty-gritty details of how this pastime occurred, what was the conversation, everything is mentioned. So all those details have been very briefly summarized by Srila Satyavrat Muni in 2 verses. And then in the next 2 verses, another set of very important, next 3 verses, which is subject matter for today, another important aspect has been highlighted. So let's take a look briefly. What is the thing which Satyavrat Muni through the first stanza establishes? There are 4 things he establishes, and those 4 things are represented by the 4 lines of the shloka. The very first thing he establishes is Namam Ishwaram Satchidananda Rupam is the divinity of the Lord, the Supreme Personality Godhead, the divinity. Namam Ishwaram Satchidananda Rupam. Lasat Kundalam, the second thing which is established, is about his Satchidananda Rupam, his transcendental form. And the third thing is being established is about his the beautiful form, the Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam, along with the Brajavasis, his great devotees are being discussed here. And then he begins to speak about the fourth thing in this verse is about his one very, very special pastime that occurred in the month of Kartik, which is known as Damodar Leela. So he says in the first two lines, particularly the first line, the Supreme Personality Godhead to whom I offer my respectful obeisances. And who is the Supreme Personality Godhead? He is Ishvara. Ishvara means the Supreme Controller. And that Supreme Controller becomes controlled by the devotion of his Bhakta. And that is the irony, that is the contradiction which is being presented here. And that is what makes Krishna consciousness so beautiful. You will never find Mother Kaushalya binding Ram, or Hanumanji is sitting on the chariot and Ramji is driving the chariot. But you find it only in Krishna's pastimes. No other form, no other personality of Godhead would have, or incarnation or manifestation of Godhead would have this. So that is being highlighted here, established the divinity of the Lord, the position of the Lord, his beautiful form, about his devotees, and a Leela, which is actually being discussed as the most nectarian among everything, is the pastimes that the Lord performs. And why these pastimes is discussed? So why we say Krishna as the supreme Godhead, the source of all. See, let's say I'm addressing some of the boys here who had raised this question before. So bear with me, those who are online. Just want to highlight some basic elements into this discussion. So many times this discussion comes up, why we say Krishna is a Supreme Personality Godhead? Why not Rama? Why not Vishnu? And what to speak about, then we have Shivji, Brahma, ityadi, ityadi. We have many others. See, the speciality and the uniqueness of Krishna, he has four very special and unique features, which neither Ram nor Narayan and Shivji, Brahma, nobody has this. What are the four unique features which are the exclusive proprietorship of Lord Shri Krishna? Does anyone know? One by one, raise your hand. So, what is that first? Yes, Venu Madhuri. It is only Krishna who plays his flute and attracts the heart of everyone. That is the uniqueness of. See, when you see Lord Ram, you see Lord Ram holding what? Bow and arrow, right? Quiver. But you never see Krishna holding any weapon, yes? Krishna only has a flute. He's always playing. Therefore, Krishna is said to be all attractive. Through his flute, he attracts the heart of every living entity. Nobody has. Vishnu doesn't hold a flute. So one is Venu Madhuri. Second, what are the four unique features? Yes, Maya?
The peacock feather.
Okay, fine, that's okay. Then the Leela Madhuri, the special pastimes of the Lord, just like the Damodar Leela which is being discussed here by Satyavrat Muni. I mean, this is the most astonishing pastime in a way where God, the Supreme Godhead, had been caught while being chased and have been bound by a mortar. Do you know anything like this have happened to anyone ever before? Imagine, Indra's devotees chasing Indra and binding Indra. How will Indra react?
He would kill him in a second.
Yeah, so boys are saying he will kill him in a second. We saw that what happened yesterday, we were discussing Govardhan Leela. So Leela Madhuri, the uniqueness of Lord's pastime is like very much like a human being. Very much like he comes to our platform and performs pastime where the devotees forget that he is a Supreme Personality Godhead. Venu Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, what are the other two Madhuris? Yes, Aman. Rupa Madhuri, the all attractive. So we were discussing about Govardhan Leela, right, yesterday? So one of the unique features of Govardhan Leela is for 7 days, 7 nights, no cow asked for any fodder to eat. Nothing. No Brajavasis wanted to eat anything because their heart was content and fully satisfied drinking the nectar of the beautiful face of the Lord Krishna. And again, we'll see in today's discussion, the verse number 5, that same beauty of the Lord has been glorified. Where Satyavrat Muni says, my dear Lord, your beauty, your form is so incredible that it frees devotees from all distress. All the distresses goes away. And where that distress experience had happened in Govardhan Lila. When they entered and when they saw Krishna holding the Govardhan, all the distress of the Brajavasis had gone away. So three things have been discussed: Venu Madhuri, Lila Madhuri, Rup Madhuri. What is the fourth special unique feature? See, Ram doesn't have that, Vishnu doesn't have that, and of course others don't have. What is the fourth feature? Anyone? Rasamadhuri. What is Rasamadhuri? Don't compose. Don't compose things like that. Okay. Anyone? What are the four unique features? Anyone online? Anyone has written a message? Venu Madhuri. Then, okay, I'll give you time to think about it. I'll come back. So, like this, these are the uniqueness of the Lord. And now we come to the second verse. We have the second verse in front of you. So, these are the things established in the first verse. So, what are things established in the second verse? In the second verse, let's sing the second verse. Rudantam bahur netram yugmam rijantam karam bhuja yugamena satanka netram muhaswasakam patri rekhankakanta sitagre vadahamodaram bhakti bhaktam. So here Satyavat Muni discusses what happens after Krishna was caught by Mother Yashoda. And here it is mentioned in this shloka, we have discussed this whole pastime last time, that once Mother Yashoda caught Krishna, she bound him with a motor, right? That is called as Damodar Leela. So, how did Mother Yashoda bind Krishna? How did Mother Yashoda?
With the rope she used to.
With the rope she bound, right? That is why he is said to be Dam Udar. Dam means rope. But Satyavat Muni doesn't say that. Satyavat Muni says Damodaram Bhakti Badham. Look at the shloka, what he says. Damodaram Bhakti Badham. So then how is Krishna being caught or bound? Yes. So here in the second verse, Satyavat Muni establishes the glory of bhakti. Krishna can only be conquered by devotion, not by jnana. And that is how he was captured and conquered by the devotion of Mother Yashoda. That is the point we mentioned. And now we come to the third shloka, which we are supposed to discuss today. Okay? Iti diksvalilabhir ananda kundi. Everyone together. Swaghosham nimahachantam akyapayantam tadiye shritagreshu bhakta jitatvam puna prema sasta tavati vande. Now this takes the discussion into another level now. The first two verses, the first verse establishes the Supreme Personality Godhead. Greater than that is his Leela Madhuri, his pastimes. And second verse establishes bhakti, how Krishna gets conquered by bhakti. Now the third verse takes us to another level. What it talks about? Iti drik swalilabhir ananda kunde. So all of you like Sanskrit, right? So let's pay attention to the shloka here, word by word. So let's take a look. So there are two things which this verse highlighted, this shloka highlighted. First is Lord Shri Krishna drowns his devotees in the pools of ecstasy. And second, Ananda Kunda. And second thing is about how bhakti jitatvam. Lord Krishna is only captured by bhakti. Let's take a look. So itidrik. What is the meaning of word itidrik? Itidrik means all these, what has been discussed, like this. So Satyavat Muni is saying, like this means the Damodar Leela. Like this, Krishna performs his Leela. How? Swalila. He performs by his own will. And then what happens? Leelabhir Ananda Kunde. And then Lord Shri Krishna drowns everyone in the ocean or in the pools of ecstasy. So, what happened exactly after when Krishna was bound? Okay, let me put it this way. Here Satyavat Muni is saying, Lord Shri Krishna gives Ananda to his devotees through his pastimes, right? Now, Satyavat Muni could have said Shanti Kund, right? You would have seen many accommodations have their name by the name of Shanti Kunj. Why? We want Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So why Satyavata Muni is not saying Shanti Kunj but Ananda Kunj or Shanti Kunj, not Shanti Kunj but Ananda Kunj. There is, first of all, we have to understand there is a fundamental difference between Shanti and Prema. Shanti means no anxiety, and Prema means not happiness only, anxiety. There are tears of separation, there are anxiety, there is fear of security. So here so far what Krishna have done is, Krishna had given joy so far to all the Brajvasis by getting bound. And now Krishna is going to make everyone cry everyone. And now in some time everyone is going to cry, and the most who's going to cry is Mother Yashoda. And that is why this is being described. I will not go into the details of the pastime, but all of you sitting, I'll briefly speak about what happened exactly. So after this, when Krishna was bound, Mother Yashoda went inside, and then Krishna called for his Gop Sakhas. All the Gop Sakhas came, and Krishna began to play along with his Ukkal. And then he instructed his Gop Sakhas, "Hey Gopas, I am hungry. Please go to the house of the Gopis and steal butter and come back." Now he was caught for the first time because he was stealing. And he continues his stealing. And if the Gopsaka goes in the house of the Gopis and they steal butter and come back. In the meantime, Krishna carries his ukkal, brings it in between two Yamala Arjuna trees, and he uproots those huge trees, those who have life across centuries. When the tree lives for a very, very long time, you have to understand the roots are very deep rooted. And Yamala Arjuna trees are particularly known for their strength. And when Krishna, baby Krishna, uprooted those Yamala Arjuna tree, when they fell on the ground, there was a terrible earthquake. The whole Brajbhumi was trembling. Whoever was standing on his feet, they fainted and fell on the ground. So first question arises here is, if Krishna, baby Krishna, was only 4 years and younger, if he had so much strength to uproot the trees along with the roots, why he did not free himself from the ukkal? He could have opened himself, na? Yes or no? Why it was not done? Yes, what do you say?
Prabhuji, as you said that Krishna does one work.
Yeah, no, that's a different thing. He does through single action.
First he did
Why he didn't open himself?
First he did to give pleasure to the Vrajavasis seeing his
Okay.
form, and then
Because he was bound by bhakti, by love, he cannot. He is already subjugated, subordinate. He cannot set himself free. Only another bhakta can come and set him free. So the question comes, why the Gop Sakhas did not come and set him free? If imagine Srirang is tied up by his mother, both Mayank and I hope Achinta will come and help you, right? They might want to. They're saying we'll not. Both of them saying no, we'll not do it. We'll be happy. We'll clap. So the Sakhas tried, but Sakha could not do it. I'm not going to get into details of it. Some of your kids here sitting. So they tried, but they couldn't do it. So when the trees were uprooted, fell on the ground, there was a huge earthquake. Then everyone came running, including Nanda Baba. When Nanda Baba came there, then Nanda Baba opened the thread. And that's how Krishna was set free from the ukkal. And then Nanda Baba took Krishna on his lap, and Nanda Baba asked Krishna, "Krishna, who did this to you?" And as soon as Krishna was in the lap of Nanda Baba, see, prior to that, Krishna was laughing and playing. He was playing with his sakhas, everything was happening. As soon as Krishna was in the lap of his father, he began to cry. "Papa, maa ne kiya. My mother have done it, Baba, my mother, your wife has done it. She's so cruel and crooked. She punished me so severely. Look at this young boy. She tied my belly, bound my belly to this ukkal, and these two huge trees fell. Imagine if they would have missed or they would have changed their direction of falling, they would have fallen on me. What would happen?" And like that, he began to speak. And then Nanda Baba became very angry. How did Mother Yashoda did like this? So Nanda Baba took Krishna inside. Long stories happened like this. Is beautifully described in Gopal Champu. So here, at this point of time, Mother Yashoda could not come outside because she was very, very disturbed. She was thinking, how can I punish Krishna like this? Because of my punishment, Krishna could have lost his life. How did I do so? And then finally, the whole day, Nanda Baba and Krishna were together. Finally, Rohini Devi came. Rohini Devi asked Nanda Baba, "Mother Yashoda has not eaten anything. She's crying constantly." So there was a lot of emotion upheavals. So you see in this whole Leela, there was humor, there was smile. When Mother Yashoda came back after, protecting the milk which was burning on the pot, And when she saw the naughtiness of Krishna, that he has broken the pot, then Sukadeva Goswami says, she was smiling. Oh, my boy has become so intelligent. How smartly he has broken the pot, without even making a noise. And then when Mother Yashoda saw how Krishna had stolen the pot of butter and he was feeding to monkeys, then Mother Yashoda became angry. You see the emotions? Now, when it is Shanti, 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 it doesn't happen like that. For example, because the kids are sitting, let me give an example which you can understand. See, not we all go, but people go to watch movie. Now, in movie, you go through all the emotions. And to the degree you become emotional, to the degree you have an experience of joy, right? Even while watching a movie, if you cry tears, you will say, wow, what a nice movie. And I'll give you one classic example is, kids, those who are having bad throat, they can, a little bit, I'm getting disturbed. Go inside, otherwise take a little warm water. So, for example, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham. There was a movie when I was a young boy, like all of you. And that movie, we cried so much and so much. Everyone who ever went to watch that movie cried so much. And that was a blockbuster. Yeah. What does it indicate? Think about it. So there were tears, there were emotions, there were moments of laughter and joy. More than a smile in that movie, there were cries. So now you look at this Leela. Mother Yashoda smiles at Krishna. Oh, my son has become so smart. And then Mother Yashoda becomes angry. There's an anger. Then Krishna becomes fearful. And there is a thrill where Mother Yashoda is running after Krishna and nobody knows when he would be caught. There is a thrill, there is an adventure. Finally, Krishna is caught. And then there is a struggle for survival. Who would win? Krishna would win or your Mother Yashoda would win? And then all the Brajvasis came. And then they are clapping. You see all those emotions involved? And then all the Brajvasi comes and there's a whole adventure building up. They're bringing the rose, but Krishna is not letting himself being bound up. That goes on until late evening. And then finally, when Krishna is bound, Mother Yashoda is relieved and she goes inside. Then there is this frightening attack in Vrindavan where this whole Yamalojana trees fall. Everyone was fear-stricken. They run outside. And now Mother Yashoda is crying. All the Brajvasis are scared. All this is happening within the single day. So many emotions, ups and downs. Therefore, Satyavrat Muni says, Ananda Kunde. Imagine if you get to watch a movie where you have all these emotions. There is adventure, there is fear, there is laughter, there are tears, there is joy. Would you call it fantastic movie? And that movie will keep you highly focused, attentive. Yes? Imagine there is a movie where there is Shanti. There is no emotions. You're just watching it. There is no laughter. There is no tear. There is no adventure. There is no fear. How many of you say, while watching that movie, you'll fall asleep within 5 minutes? Raise your hand. Yes or no? That's the reason Shanti is not the platform which devotees aspire. Shanti's platform is lower than the Prema platform. Prema means all these emotions, and that is what Satyavrat Muni is explaining. So Hare Krishna, bear with me all those, because I have kids sitting, so I'm making examples for their level. So our teenage people understand what's going on here. That's the reason I have to speak like this. So that is being described here. All right. So let's take a look. So Itidik we were talking about. So here Satyavrat Muni says, like this, Krishna becomes subordinate to his devotees. Mother Yashoda example. But not only this. Sukadeva Goswami gives many examples while describing Krishna's Leela. That how Krishna, please understand, Krishna, the same Krishna who was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, who showed his Virat Roop to Arjuna. Seeing that form, Arjuna began to cry. He was so terrified, he said, my dear Lord, please, please, please come back to two-handed form. So that Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here Sukadeva Goswami mentioned, sometimes the gopis in the Vrindavan will catch hold of Krishna and say, hey, you want to steal our butter? You want our sweet meat? Krishna dance. And the Krishna will dance. And the gopis would clap. And they will give him a melody, music. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And sometimes 2 tal. And Krishna would change his actions accordingly. This is how Krishna would dance. And sometimes gopis will catch Krishna and say, okay, you want our sweets? Now sing a song for us. Krishna would sing a song. Sometime Mother Yashoda will tell Krishna, Krishna, your Baba is going out. Bring his slipper. So Krishna would run in the courtyard, run in the house, find Baba's slipper, put it onto his head, and then come running back. Baba, Baba, here is your slipper. Sometimes Mother Yashoda would say, bring this pot from the kitchen. Krishna would run to the kitchen and bring a pot. Now, is this how you're supposed to treat a Supreme Personality of Godhead? This is why it is said Bhakti Baddham. And that is why Leela Madhuri. That is the uniqueness of Lord Shri Krishna. His pastimes are the most attractive and all attractive. And to add more spice and flavor to it, sometimes Krishna would attempt lifting a weight, some utensil. And if he is not able to lift it, well, what can Krishna cannot lift? If the same boy can lift a Govardhan, can he not lift a pot? So sometimes just to add spice to the whole pastime, Krishna would attempt to lift a pot and then he'll throw it down saying that it is too heavy. And the gopis will think, oh, our young boy, he's still not grown up. And then what Krishna will do? Wait. He will take his muscles. I am grown up, I am strong. He'll smash his muscles and then lift our utensil and come back running. Like that he would perform. Therefore it is said, Ananda Kunde. Swalila Bhir. So Krishna performs all this by his own sweet will. That is the meaning of it. So you see this within this small prayer and these words. So many pastimes, so many things have been discussed here. Like the Swalila Bhir Ananda Kunde. Now, why Satyavrata Muni is talking about Ananda, he could have talked about Sukha Kunda. Shanti Kunda to ho gaya. You said you will fall asleep in 5 minutes. Now, why not Sukha? Now, Sukha exists in the material world, not in the spiritual world. In spiritual world, what exists is Ananda, bliss. But happiness exists in material world. What is the meaning of happiness? Kabhi khushi, kabhi gam, tararam pam. So if there is khushi, there is gonna be gam. Therefore, the happiness exists in the material world, not in the spiritual world. First of all, happiness does not exist here. Therefore, Krishna says, Dukhalayam ashashvatam. So what we call as a happiness is just a temporary relief from misery. Temporary relief from misery. How many of you are hungry? Raise your hands. How many of you are hungry? Raise your hands. Only a handful of you are hungry? Okay. Any one of you thirsty? Some of you are thirsty? Alright. Any one of you feeling sleepy? Okay. Thoda. Fine. How many of you feeling tired? Fatigued? Now, this is dukkha. Right or no? This is misery. Imagine if you don't feel hungry only. You'll be always happy. If you don't feel thirsty only, you'll be only happy, right? Imagine when you see khichdi, you become full of bliss. You'll be always happy. Because now it's not about your favorite food item, right or no? So in this material world only exists sukha dukkha, but in spiritual world ananda. That is why Ananda Kunda is mentioned. Let's move ahead. So this is a verse which I have just included, which talks about what happened and how Krishna was caught. Let's go to the next line. So this was the first line. What is the next line? Swaghosham nimajantam akhyapayantam. So Krishna does not perform all this Leela alone, but he performs along with Swaghosham. With whom? Swaghosha. What does Ghosha means? His devotees. So you might have seen posters of Krishna and Vishnu sometimes. And you might have seen him, there is a huge forest and Krishna is standing alone. No, Krishna is never alone. Swaghosham is always with his cowherd friends. Is always with his calves and the cows and the gopis and the Brajavasis. Sometimes it is shown as if the Lord is alone there and all the population is here only. And he's standing all alone. Have you seen something like this? You will find it in the books when they draw paintings like that. It's never like this. So that is what is mentioned. Swaghosham. So what he does along with his devotees or friends, Nima Jantam Akhyapantam. How many of you like swimming? Right? When you go to the swimming pool, what do? You plunge into it. And then you like zoop. You splash into the water. So here Nimajantam, what is the meaning of Nimajantam? Is plunging into the Ananda Kunda. So just imagine you swim in an ocean, let's say in a swimming pool. It has very salty water, right? They add salt to it. Chlorine, a bleach. You go to the ocean water, they add a lot of salt to it. And if you happen to drink it, you have to vomit. You have to vomit out. You have to spit it out. Your eyes, your throat gets infected because of it. Now imagine Krishna is inviting you to take a plunge into what swimming pool? Which is Ananda Kunda, which is filled with nectar. You plunge into that nectarian kunda. You drink it, you do whatever you want. It is nectar from the beginning to the end. And that is how Krishna is inviting. Krishna performs his lila and invites his devotees. That is the meaning of it. Ananda Kunda. Akhya Payantam, Satyavrat Muni declares. Like this, Krishna performs the leelas and declares to everyone to come back to him. And then what happens? Tadiye shitahagneshu bhakta jitatvam puna prematastam shatavriti vande. So, if you're living in a society and there is a swimming pool, who has the right to go to that swimming pool?
Only the society.
Only the society members. So my question to all of you is now, who has the right to take a plunge or a splash into Ananda Kunda?
The devotees.
Which devotees? There are many kind of devotees. There are yogis, there are bhaktas, there are jnanis. Which devotee? Which devotee? What is the speciality of bhaktas?
They have love.
They have love. What does yogi have? What does yogi have? What does jnani have? Yogi, jnani don't have love? He doesn't. They have awe and reverence. Yes, that is what is mentioned. Tadi Isha Ganeshu. So what is mentioned? So there are multiple types of devotees. There is a Jnana Bhakta, Yogi Bhakta, and there is Bhakta. So it is mentioned how the Lord is only won over by Bhaktir Jitatvam. Jitatvam means to win over. So the Lord is won over by Bhakti, not through Jnana. So all these Jnana Bhaktas, they can go up to where? Vaikuntha. But they cannot go to Vrindavan. The exclusive right to go to Vrindavan is only with Bhakti Jitatvam, those who love Krishna. Now, how does love can exist? For example, does Mother Yashoda loves Krishna? But does Mother Yashoda know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
So my question to you is, can love and knowledge not exist together?
It can.
Which example do you have it can exist? Mother Yashoda loves Krishna and therefore Krishna allowed himself to be born by Mother Yashoda.
They would think that he is a supreme personality.
If you have the jnana that Krishna is a Supreme Personality Godhead, you cannot ever dare to bind him. You can never dare to raise a stick to chastise him. You can never think that I need to protect. You always think he's supposed to protect me. Yes or no? So in love, your object of love becomes dependent on you. So in Krishna, why this Vrindavan pastimes are so glorified? Because in Vrindavan, everyone thinks Krishna needs to be protected. Krishna needs to be cared for. Therefore, when sometimes people would come and tell that Krishna, Nanda Baba, Krishna is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nanda Baba will say, "Arey, baja kar rahe." Krishna is not even an ordinary human being. Why? He does not have any sense control. Whole day he keeps eating sweets. Never comes for morning program. And whenever there is a time for morning program, then give excuses. No sense control. Only big words. Forget about he being God. He is not even an ordinary human being. Even if you say he was a great yogi in last life, I cannot believe. Are yogi is not supposed to steal and lie. He is always stealing, he is always lying. So like that, the love is glorified. So this was, now this is a point for all the seniors here, will make more sense to them here. Actually, this was Tadiye Shita Agneshu Bhakte Jitatvam. So this verse, let me complete with the last line, what it indicates, what's the importance of it here. Let's come to the last line. Purna prematastam shatavriti vande. Purna means again and again. I do what? Namam. I offer my obeisances. How? I offer shatavriti. How many times? Hundreds of times. Shata means century, right? Century comes over shata. How many times? What I do? Vande. Vande means offer my respect. How do I offer respect? See, there are ways of offering respect. You can offer respect through awe and reverence. Oh, you are so great, my dear Lord. But how does Satyavrat offers his Vande prayers? Look at the verse. No, prem. Look at the verse. Look at the word. He offers through love. My dear Lord, with loving heart, I offer my humble obeisance and respect to you. So this is a very, very important verse actually, which establishes the glories of Vraja Bhakti. Those who are situated on the Jnana platform, they can never get access to Vrindavan pastimes. So much so, Brahma, Shiva, they all are outside of Vrindavan Lila. Even they don't have, because they know the greatness of the Lord. So similarly for all the bhaktas, therefore this Damodarashtakam becomes very, very important for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because our goal has been established by our acharyas to be Vrindavan, Vraja Bhakti, and not Vaikuntha Bhakti. And for Vraja Bhakti, we can only approach Vraja Bhakti when our role models are from Vrindavan pastimes. Our role models cannot be from Vaikuntha. Therefore, here it is mentioned in the shloka, the Lord is only conquered by Bhakti. So who has access to Ananda? Only Bhaktas. Those who follow the model of Braj Bhakti. Not those who follow Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Jnana Mishra Bhakti can go up to Vaikuntha, which means even in Vaikuntha this Ananda Kund does not exist. This is what Satyavrat Muni is saying. The Ananda Kund, this bliss only exists in Vrindavan. And I gave you an example of bliss. Somebody calls the movie was fantastic, which means it must have all the thrills, all the emotions. And those emotions only exist, all possible emotions, all possible rasas and relationship exist only in Vrindavan. So as a sadhakas, our goal of life, as we generally every morning say, what is that statement we say? It is also an offense to be attended while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must carefully guard against his offenses in order to achieve the desired success. This is the meaning of Krishna Prema. What Krishna Prema? Love like of Vrindavan devotees. That is how the Braj Bhakti has been glorified. And this Damodarashtakam prayers, each time we sing, should realign and reiterate the importance of developing Braj Bhakti. And how does Braj Bhakti happens? Through Srila Rupa Goswami in Nectar Devotion talks about sadhana bhakti as two ways, Vaidhi sadhana, Raganuga. So Vaidhi Bhakta can skip Raganuga Bhakti and develop the Bhakti for Vaikuntha Dham. He can go to Vaikuntha Dham. But to go to Vrindavan Dham, he has to go through Raganuga Bhakti. And Raganuga Bhakti is practiced under the guidance of Ragatmika Bhaktas. Ragatmika Bhaktas are who? The eternal associates of the Lord in Vrindavan. That is how this Damodarashtakam is said to be sung by every Gaudiya Vaishnava, because it reminds again and again of Braj Bhakti. All right, I'll be quick now. Let's move forward. So to conclude this whole third verse, where this whole pastime has been concluded, very beautifully Srila Sukdev Goswami says. What he says? So this verse, third verse which we just discussed of Satyavrat Muni, is almost similar to this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is mentioned, Dashayam sadvidam loka atmano vratyavashyatam. There are two things are mentioned. Tadvidam loka. Tadvidam, one who knows. Tadvidam refers to Jnana Bhaktas. You can call it Brahma, Shiva, like that. And then Vratyavashitam. Then there are, Vratya means servants. There are other set of devotees, Vashitam, under whose control Krishna comes. So what is mentioned here? Darshayam Tadvidam Loka. Krishna gives experience, or he performs his Leela. When he comes to this world, he performs his pastimes to give some experience to all these Jnana Bhaktas like Brahma and Shiva. So see, he gave an experience to Brahma. And what was the Leela that happened before Brahma Vimohan Leela? seeing which Brahmaji was invited and Brahmaji came. What had happened before Brahma Lila? Yes, Aghasur. When Aghasur was killed, all the demigods were celebrating, and the news of celebration reached to Brahma. And when Brahma got to know Aghasura has been killed, and who had killed him? A boy had killed him. Oh, really? How can the boy be so powerful? And then Brahma comes down, and then he sees that boy who had killed Aghasur, who everyone is glorifying as Narayana. He is sitting in a circle with all the devotees, with those coward boys, and Gopala would take a prasad from the box of a devotee, Gopasaka, put it into his mouth, and then take it back and put it in his mouth. And Brahma was thinking, when I do worship of Narayana, so much rules and regulations are there. Every time I offer any oblation, I have to do Achman. So many mantras I have to chant. Here, the supreme of all is eating jhuta of his Gopasakas. No etiquettes, deity worship etiquettes are followed. And there's a live deity here, not the deity we have. So Brahmaji got confused. So it is mentioned, Darshan Tadvidam Loka. So Lord comes to this world to give an experience to all these Jnani Bhaktas so they can rise and become Braja Bhaktas. Atmano Bhratya Vashyatam. Atmano Bhratya Vashyatam. I come under the control of Atmano Bhratya, those who are my very dear servants. Vrajasya Vahi Harsham. And see, Ananda Kunda was mentioned. Here Sukadeva Goswami says, like this, Bhratya Vashyatam, I come under the control of my servants, and then I give them Harsha, means bliss. Bhagavan Bal Cheshtita. How he gives him bliss? By performing Bal Cheshtita, by performing his Bale Leelas. Through his childhood pastimes, I give that bliss. See, Krishna standing on the battlefield of Kurukshetra performs a particular kind of pastimes. That has a different mood than Krishna being chased by Mother Yashoda. That is what Sukadeva Goswami says here, and this is what the verse is all about. Let's move to the fourth and the fifth verse. So the third verse actually establishes two things. Krishna gives access to Ananda Kunda. To whom? To only his pure devotees, who loves him, not knowing that he is even a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now comes fourth and the fifth verse. Let's take a look in a very brief what is the fourth and fifth verse. So now, actually, how does prayers are offered to the Lord? So do your kids offer prayer to the Lord? So now please write down a few things. How do we offer prayer to the Lord? Whenever you go in front of the Lord, the very first thing we should do when we go in front of the Lord is glorify the Lord. So how do we glorify the Lord? We can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We glorify the Lord by, offering the Pranam Mantra. Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Gro Bhamnayataya Chadagattikaya Krishna Govindaya Namo Namo. So this is how our prayer should start. So the first, we should glorify the Lord. So prayer should be for the glorification. So if you see in the first three stanzas, Satyavrat Muni have glorified the Lord along with his devotees. Now, after you have glorified the Lord, now it is the time to ask for your benediction. Now it is the time to put forward your request. So what should we ask the Lord? This is $1 million question. Everyone has this question. What should I ask the Lord? And even Krishna wonders, what do you want? Many times it is seen when people go in front of the altar, they're totally clueless. They're looking at the Lord and Lord is looking at him. Both of them are wondering, kaun bolega pehle? Who's going to do the icebreaker? And many times I've seen even the adults, they're standing in front of the Lord, they don't know what to say, what to do. So if not, at least chant Hare Krishna. So what prayers should we offer? What prayer should we ask for? Or what Satyavrat Muni asked for? Very, very beautiful. Let's take a look at it. Let's sing the shloka first, and then we'll do it. Varam deva moksham na moksham vadhim va na chanyam vaneham vareshadapiha idam teva purnatha gopalavalam sada me manasya virashtam kimane. So what should be a prayer, ideal prayer, or what Satyavrat Muni? And therefore Lord Shri Krishna loves this Damodarashtakam. It pleases Krishna the most. Why? Because it is composed by Satyavrat Muni. You may write a poem, but it is not necessarily will please Krishna. And Krishna wants this prayer to be sung every day because of the great devotion of Satyavrata Muni. So what Satyavrata Muni asked from the Lord? So Satyavrata Muni says, first of all, Varam Deva. Do you know one name of Krishna is also Varadaraj Swami? What is the meaning of Varadaraj? The king of all benedictions. Varad Raj. One who can give you any and every benediction. So here Satyavrata Muni says, my dear Lord, I know you can fulfill all the desires. You are Varadaraj Swami. So the best of the Vardhan that people ask in this world is freedom from suffering, right? Please mujhe exam mein pass kara do. That is a suffering for a student. For who is an engineer or working, please mera promotion kara do. Who is a struggling bachelor, मेरी शादी करा दो. और जो शादी कर चुका है, मेरी शादी टिका दो. You know, so in a different situation, people have different prayers. So the highest prayer is moksha, because in all the situations there are anxieties. So what is the highest prayer? Moksha. So here Satyavrata Muni says, Varam Daiva Moksha. And then he says, nah, I don't want moksha, my dear Lord. Although it is the highest benediction anyone can want from you, you can award moksha, liberation. I don't want moksha. Moksham vadimva. I don't want even the gati which is attained after moksha. So one is moksha, liberation, which means Brahman realization. Second is moksham vadimva, here refers to Vaikunthavas. There are 5 kinds of liberation. Please note down. What are the 5 kinds of mukti? So first mukti which he is asking for, he is saying I don't want, is Sayujya mukti. Sayujya mukti. Sayujya mukti means merging. Sayujya mukti. The next is called as, not next in that way, is Salokya mukti. Sarishti, Samipya, Sarupya mukti. So next is Salokya, to be on the same planet as with the Lord. Loka, Salokya. Sarishti, which means being near to the Lord. No, not Sarishti. It's the same opulence as the Lord. Sarishti. Samipya means being closer to the Lord. And Sarupya Mukti is to have the same form as the Lord. Like that. These are the 5 liberations. So after this, Satyamurti says, I don't even want Vaikunthavas. My dear Lord, I know you can give me Vaikunthavas. I didn't even want Vaikunthavas. And then what he says, Nachanyam vraneham vare shadapiha. Not only that I don't want Vaikunthavas, Nachanyam vraneham. I don't even want, which is even greater than Vaikunthavas. What is greater than Vaikunthavas? No, not Goloka Vrindavan. Let's take a look. What is greater than? So the prayers of the devotees are, my dear Lord, I don't care, you put me in hell and heaven. Only thing that I want is, I should always remember you. I should always be able to sing your glories. So this is more for adults right now. Kids may be fine. So what does Lord says here? Okay, we can do one thing, because now the subject matter is about more of devotion. We can pause this for the kids here. If you're able to understand, okay, because now I'll address particularly the seniors here, okay? So somebody needs to take a break, you can go. And those who want to sit, they can sit. But I'll speak for the seniors now. So, okay, now what is happening here is, what is the mood of a devotee? He says, my dear Lord, you put me in hell or heaven. I don't care, as long as I get to remember you, I get to sing your glories, and I get to associate with devotees. So higher than Sayujya Mukti is Salokya Mukti, Vaikunthavas. Now, higher than Vaikunthavas would be to remember the Lord. Therefore, they are saying, we don't care, you put us in hell and heaven. This is what it is. 3rd canto, 15th chapter. Oh Lord, we pray that you let us be born in any hellish condition in life, just as long as our hearts and minds is always engaged in the service of your lotus feet. Our words are made beautiful by speaking about you. Our ears are purified hearing about you. We don't want anything. So here Satyavrata Muni says, I don't even want this. Which definitely means there is something greater than this also. I don't even want that, let me be in any situation. I remember, I don't want that. What does he want? That is what is a focus here in this verse. Let's see what he wants. Okay, no. This is, go back to the verse here. What he wants, it is mentioned in the third and the fourth line. So the first two lines mention about three things which he doesn't want. Moksha doesn't want, moksham vadimva, Vaikunthavas doesn't he want, na cha anyam varneham, मुझे कोई और वरदान भी नहीं चाहिए. Greater than Vaikuntha is, remembrance of the Lord. My dear Lord, even I don't want that. अरे, what do you want? क्या चाहिए तुम्हें? Any guesses? What is remaining?
What's the power of the Lord to be always in front of him?
Okay, now you know the meaning of the verse. So what he wants? Okay, why he wants that?
Prabhuji, because the Krishna's form is so beautiful that it can make him swim in the pool of ecstasy.
Swim in the pool of ecstasy. But what does exactly it means? So what he says, Idam te vapurnatha gopala balam. This is very beautiful, huh? Gopala balam. What is Gopala balam means? Any guesses?
Krishna child
As a Bal Gopala.
Bal Gopala. And which particular Bal Gopal form?
the lotus tree.
The 7-year-old
The one who is always eating butter, stealing the butter and eating butter. Because this whole pastime happened because of that, na? Gopala Balam. And there are so many songs have been written. Because Krishna was stealing the butter, that's how the Damodarashtakam happened, na? Gopala Balam. So what he wants, Krishna may ask, what do you want, Satyavrat Muni? He says, Idam te vapurnath Gopala Balam Sada me manasya virashtam kimanye. Kimanye means I don't want anything. I don't want anything. But what do you want? Is there anything? Except for this thing, I don't want anything. What is that one thing? I only want Braja Bhakti. Now, where would you have Gopala Balam? In Vraj or Vaikuntha?
Raj only.
So, what he wants? Only Braja Bhakti. That's why this Damodarashtakam becomes very, very important for devotees. So, what is an aspiration given here for every sadhaka? We will not settle for anything anywhere less than Braj Bhakti. An example, Brad Bhagavatamrita written by Sanatana Goswami, Gop Kumar. He goes to Vaikuntha, not happy. He goes to Dwarka. Even there he was not happy. Narad Muni and Uddhava sensed it and they spoke to Gop Kumar. What happened? You still seems to be lost. And Gopakumar said, yeah, my heart is still longing for more. And then Narad Muni said, and Uddhava said, well, what you're longing for cannot be found anywhere but in Vrindavan. And to enter that Vrindavan, you have to go back to Bhu Vrindavan. Here come and follow in the footsteps of the Brajavasis. Develop that mood of devotion and then go to the eternal Vrindavan. So then Gopakumar comes from the eternal Dwarka back to this material world, to this Ati planet, and he performs his bhakti in Vrindavan Dham. And then he gets to go back to the eternal Vrindavan. And Srila Prabhupada, tomorrow is Srila Prabhupada Discipline's Day, and that Srila Prabhupada traveled all over the world to give us access to that Vrindavan. He made Vrindavan all over the world. New Vrindavan, new Jagannath Puri, new Dwarka Puri, new Mayapur Puri, etc., etc. All over the world he gave us Vrindavan, where he established the worship of Shri Radha and Krishna. He gave us and taught us the principles of sadhana bhakti only for one thing, Braja Bhakti. Tulsi prayers that you sing in the morning. Of course, this is again a question for the adults. What is Tulsi prayers all about? What are we asking in Tulsi prayers? Look at any stanza of Tulsi prayers. It is only indicating towards Braja Bhakti. No other thing. We are praying to the gopis. We are praying to Vrinda Devi. Please make me Radha Krishna Seva Pao. Ehi Abhilash. Meri ek hi ichha hai. And make me Das of the Das. Make me the servant of the servants. Like that. So Braja Bhakti is what is being discussed. So that's what it mentions. So here, one thing to note. What he says, Idam te vapurnatha gopala balam sadame manasya virashtam kimanye. I want this beautiful form of Gopal Bal always appear in my heart. Should always manifest in my heart. This is what I want. I don't want anything. And this is what he speaks in the fifth prayer also. In the fifth prayer, he just establishes. I'll just make one or two points about it, we'll pause. In the fifth stanza, now he describes the beautiful face of that Gopal, because that's what he wants. The roop of Gopal Bala appear in his heart. And what is the roop of the Gopal Bala is being described in this beautiful stanza. Idam te mukambojam atyantanile vratam kuntala snegda rakta shagopya. So what is that form of Gopal Bala which he wants the Krishna to make manifest in his heart? Muhuchumbitaham bimbam rakta dharame manasya virashtam alaksha alaksha labhe mein to mujhe, I don't want anything. Alaksha means counted. Alaksha means unlimited. Labha means benedictions. There is no use of unlimited benedictions to me. I only want one thing. What? Gopala Bala. And what does Gopal Bala looks like? Idam te mukham bhojam atyantanile. So, atyant idam te mukham bhoj. Ambhoja. So, how does Krishna's face look like? Ambhoja is lotus flower. The lotus is said to be the king of all the flowers. It's the most beautiful flower. So, his face is like lotus flower. Atyanta nile, and very dark. Dark complexion, shining. And then Vratam Kuntala has, and then it is mentioned that lotus face is being covered by the curly locks of hair. By the curly locks of hair. Is something like an analogy has been made, the lotus flower being surrounded by bumblebees. Have you seen bumblebees attacking the lotus flower? Surrounding. So Krishna's face, the way it is being described here is like a lotus flower surrounded by bumblebees. Those are curly locks of hair. What a beautiful point is mentioned. Idam te mukhambojam atyantanile vratam kuntalahe snigdha rakta shagopya. And his face, his form is glistening because it is the source of our light. Raktaisha Gopi, and particularly his face has become reddish. Why? Because Muhuschambitaham bimba raktadharame, because of the constant kissing by Mother Yashoda, who again kisses on the cheeks of Krishna, Bal Gopal. Because of that, his face has become reddish. And then it is mentioned how his bimbam raktadharame, his lips are like a bimba fruit, like that. Manasya virashtam alam lakshalabhai. So he says, I want this form of the Lord always to manifest in my heart. I don't want anything. And this is how Satyavrat Muni prays here. We'll just take a look at translation parts here. Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair, tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda. Your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. So why Satyavrat Muni is asking for vision of this form of the Lord? Because it removes all the distress, all the inauspiciousness, and everything. And I'll conclude with one evidence for it. When Srimati Radharani appeared in this world, she did not even open her eyes until Krishna came in front of her. Why? Because she can, seeing anything beyond Krishna or apart from Krishna only gives distress, only brings misery. Therefore it is said, seeing Krishna, Satyavrat Muni is saying, just like Arjuna said, Arjuna, Duryodhana both were given an option to select. You can select between Krishna or his army. Arjuna said, I'll select Krishna. And just by selecting Krishna, all the distress of the Pandavas were taken away. Similarly, when we take to Krishna consciousness or when we chant the holy names of the Lord, all our distress can go away. All our sufferings can go away. That is the benediction of Krishna consciousness, because everything in Krishna consciousness is absolute. Chanting the names of the Lord, seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, hearing about the Lord, all of that takes our distress away. And here Satyavrat Muni, who is an exalted Vaishnava, He is expressing his heart that I want nothing but 24/7 live streaming from Golok Vrindavan, 24/7, without interruption of electricity faults or anything. I want 24/7 streaming of your beautiful Bal Gopalam, beautiful Bal Gopal form. And what is that form? It describes in the first stanza. With that, we'll conclude our discussion of this prayers for today. There are a lot of depths and meanings which our acharyas explain. I kind of have tried to cover some of those points, not everything, because we had a mixed audience today. Next week, when we meet for the concluding session, we'll discuss the prayers 6th, 7th, and 8th. Where now in 6th and 7th, the second part of the pastime will be discussed. Kuverat Majao Baddha. Now, how the sons of Kuvera were delivered. And finally, in the 8th verse, the discussion will be about how among all the best devotee is Srimati Radharani. And therein will give you the reasoning why in the Kartik month, rather than Yashoda Damodar, Radha Damodar is worshipped. Because it was not Yashoda who bound Krishna. Of course, Yashoda bound Krishna, but she bound it only by the help and assistance of Srimati Radharani. She was the one. So we'll discuss that. Srila Jiva Goswami talks about it. Srimati Radharani, like that. All right, with that we conclude here our discussion. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Damodarashtakam ki Jai. Shri Satyavatmari ki Jai. Any questions and comments? Mother Medami, have something to say? Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanat Pranam. Thank you for the
Can't
very wonderful.
hear you. Wait a second. One second. Yes, speak up now, Mother.
Krishna,
Yes, audible.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the very wonderful session, Prabhu. Prabhu, I wanted to ask, as Sadhaka Bhaktas, we render service to the Lord in the mood of Dasya. So, what should be our mood, and what should we absorb ourselves in when we chant this Damodar prayers every day? What should be our mood?
Our mood while chanting, I'm not sure about the mood, but I guess mood can only develop when we have a certain amount of absorption. Then only. It's not about artificially creating a particular mood. Now Damodarashtakam, so I should develop Vasalya mood. Every time else, I'll develop Kshatriya mood. It's not like that. So mood would naturally develop or progress when we have had enough or have cultivated enough absorption. So at this point of time, at least I would speak for myself, when Damodarashtakam is sung, I try to go through the meditation is go through the meaning of that thing, so that I can increase my absorption. And I can realign myself. Why am I practicing bhakti? What is the goal of my bhakti? How should I practice my bhakti? Who are the role models for my bhakti? How should I progress in my bhakti? That is what my meditation is. And the mood, which is Swabhava, which develops naturally as we progress. All right? Hare Krishna. Okay, so I guess we have no other questions here, so we'll pause here. Thank you all for joining in. And we had a little mixed audience today with teenagers and adults, so I had to a little bit balance out both. I hope you could be with my little examples which I had to give it for kids. Hare Krishna. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki